Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing the presentation against women created by myself. Some of these arguments are created by my friends. I will not be outing them, but yeah. All of these will be arguments that women do not exist, and this will be proved with great rigor. You will establish a high level of certitude in the proposition that women do not exist. The first argument, very swift, very easy. If women exist, then there are composite objects from the nature of women. Composite objects do not exist. Therefore, women do not exist. This is very simple. Everything is just matter in motion. There's little pinballs. They bounce into each other. They bounce off of each other. There's not composite objects. There's no good answer to the special composition question raised by Peter Van Inwagen other than there are no composite objects. As a result, women do not exist because women would be composite objects. Next, we have from substantial form. This is an adapted argument from the writings of Francisco Suarez. If sexual difference exists, it is either A, an essential characteristic, or B, an accident. If it is A, an essential characteristic, then there is only one sex because all humans have the same kind of essence, and as such, all humans are, well, members of that kind. So they would have to be all the same. If B, then the person could lose their sex without changing substantial form, that is to say, without dying. However, a person cannot lose their sex without dying, or changing their substantial form, therefore not B. Because not B, the only option left is A, which has the entailment that there is only one sex because all humans have the same kind of essence. As a result, there is only one sex, and that sex is either male or female. There is at least one male, that is me. Therefore, there are only men, / there are no women. Very cool. From evil, the Augustinian argument. Evil does not exist, but is merely a privation of the good. Women are evil. Therefore, women do not exist. From Aristotle. All things God created are brought to completion by God. Women are incomplete men, from the nature of women as discussed by Aristotle. To be complete, a woman would have to be able to become a man. Women are incapable of becoming men, therefore women are incapable of becoming complete. Therefore, women are not created by God. If women exist, they are created by God, therefore women do not exist. This is a similar proof. This is from Scotus's methodology in his proof of the Immaculate Conception. In proving the Immaculate Conception, he says, it is the most fitting, therefore it is true. This argument takes the inverse of that. It is not fitting, therefore it is not true. God does all things in the most fitting way. It is not fitting that women should be used to do anything. Therefore, God does not use women to do anything. Anything that exists is used by God in some way. Therefore, women do not exist. Those were all a little bit easier. This is from classical logic, and it uses something called the truth table and the conditional. So the idea of a truth table is just that you map out all of the properties of a proposition, and you say, like, okay, this clause is true, this clause is true, this clause is false. So when we put all of these through, is the proposition true or is the proposition as a whole false, right? So the truth table for the conditional, which is an if-then sentence, so like you say, if I'm 6 foot, then I'm tall, I'm 6 foot, therefore I'm tall. That would be an argument, but the conditional is just, if I'm 6 foot, then I am tall. Just that proposition is the conditional, right? So take the proposition, if this sentence is true, then women don't exist. So you have the first clause, if the sentence is true. You have the conclusion, then women don't exist. So what happens when we throw this through a classic truth table for a conditional? Well, if this sentence is true, so if the sentence is true, then, yeah, and if women don't exist is true, then the whole statement is true, right? You know, you got this top line right here. True, true, and true. If P is true and Q is true, then the conditional is true, right? Then we take the second line. This is one where it's true that the sentence is true, but it's false that women don't exist. Therefore, the conditional is false. However, there's a problem with this level of the truth table, which is that the condition for P to be true is also the condition for the conditional to be true as a whole. If the P is true, then the arrow has to be true. And if the P is false, then the arrow has to be false. As a result, you can't say that the first part of the conditional is true while the second part is false, because then the whole conditional is false and the first part would no longer be true then. So it can't be in the second level, so let's look at the third level. So you have false, true, and true. So it's false that the sentence is true, and it's true that women don't exist. However, this means that the conditional is true. But if the conditional is true, then P is also true, right? Because the truth condition for P and for the conditional are the same. So those have to be the same, right? So that can't be the case. So let's look at the last option, which says the antecedent is false, the P is false and Q is false. So this sentence is false and women don't exist. But on this truth table, unfortunately, for women that is, unfortunately for women, the conditional is true, which means that P is also true. So it's impossible for it to be at this level either, which means that the only level that this proposition can exist on is on the true, true, true level. It can't exist on any of the other three levels, which means that women don't exist, because that's the consequence. It's true. The only place that this can possibly sit is on the true, true, true level. So it must be true that women don't exist. The sentence is true, therefore women do not exist. It's called that's Curry logic for you. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed this in-depth exploration of the non-existence of women. I certainly had fun making it. Yeah. There are actually other complicated arguments about set theory, but I do not have the expertise to understand nor explain them, so I will leave that classical logic proof as the most complicated one. I hope you're enjoying yourself as much as I am. Goodbye.